Montrell, don't get COVID. That is my lesson to everybody. My advice: don't get COVID.
But I thought it was just like having the flu, Justin. What do you mean?
It is what a miserable week I've had since our last recording. So Amanda got sick last week, and I went home early on last Wednesday to take care of her a little bit, get her some medicine, get her some food, some soup and stuff. And just thought she had a cold or something. It was like a really strong cold. And then no, it turns out she had COVID, which we are not 100% sure where she got it from. I mean, we did a lot of things the last couple of weeks out and about, so could have been any of them. But yeah, she got COVID, so of course I ended up getting COVID as a result, which is crazy because we actually started. We stopped sleeping together like last Tuesday, so this was the day before I went home to like take care of her and stuff. And we weren't like fully quarantining though, so that's kind of the probably why. So yeah, I ended up getting it, and it didn't hit me until Friday, man. But oh my god, it's like it's weird. Like in the moment, you don't really feel like you feel all that bad per se, like moment to moment. It comes in these like peaks and valleys, But Friday night, we watched TV like we do every Friday, and then I played Death Stranding 2 for a couple hours. And then, dude, I literally just passed out on the couch downstairs in the living room. And I woke up in the middle of the night. I ended up going to bed, and then I slept 14 hours in a row, and then I woke up on Saturday around like 1, and then I went back to sleep at 4, and I didn't wake up again until past 8 or something like that. So I slept like 18 or 19 hours Friday through Saturday, like Friday night through Saturday. So I was just, I don't know. I didn't even feel that bad necessarily, like, but you don't, I don't know. It just hits you, But then Sunday and Monday was like the nasal congestion started to hit me, and it was misery, man. I went through so many tissue boxes, like it's fucking disgusting. Like it's don't get COVID. It's pure misery. So I got through. I ended up I took Monday off from work. I worked Tuesday. That was kind of the hump day for me to like. That was kind of where I really like turned a corner with it and actually starting to feel better. So yesterday my nose was clear finally, and it's mostly at this point it's kind of just like a dry cough, and I got a little bit of sore throat in the morning. It's kind of about it right now from like the dry mouth and everything. So
Okay.
So yeah, so obviously guys, if you hear me coughing during the episode, I'm going to do my best to mute myself when it comes, but I mean this is still like, pretty consistent thing going on. So but I feel okay enough to do the episode, so I don't want to leave Montrell solo on this. Plus I did want to, I like doing the podcast, so here I am. But yeah, COVID blows, bro. It's fucking, and it's still out there. And it is not the same as the flu. It feels similar, but it is much worse in some ways. It's just like, have you ever gotten it, actually? I think you got it. Didn't you get it once?
No, I never got it. Thank God.
You've never gotten it.
Knock
Okay.
on,
Yeah.
knock on wood.
This is my second time. And, dude, you just feel like your head is in a fucking haze. Like, you're not even fully aware of things. Like you're like, you'll be like doing something, and then you'll like have a moment where you like start thinking about something, and then it's all of a sudden like 15 minutes will pass, and you're just like, oh, what was I doing? And you don't even realize it. It's just kind of happens, and like your head's like, I had some really bad headaches, the nasal congestion, like I said, the cough's been there. It's just your head is just like absolutely just, there's like an onslaught of sickness happening there. So yeah, that's been my fun. I have been doing some gaming, so I will be talking about some of that, but not as much as I would have liked in the last week. But Um, you know, but still doing some stuff. So, but Montreal, how about you? How are you doing this week, man?
Speaking of COVID, so after you sent that, or Amanda sent that in text message, I thought about it, and next week I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to a
Mm,
conference.
mm-hmm.
So, I on my
Wear a
first
mask
attempt,
on the flight
yes. So,
specifically.
so, so that's the thing, right? I tried to get the COVID vaccination shot,
Mm,
and they're like, "No, you can't get it." And I was like, "What?"
what?
So luckily, this is not luck, but it's just like fate. I was like, I'm pre-diabetic, and they're like, "Oh, okay, well you can get it then." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah,
Wait, what?
yeah." So they're I don't like I said I don't like getting political, but RFK Jr. passed these new laws for vaccination for specifically COVID. Um, you can still get the flu shot like regularly, but COVID shot vaccines, you have to have at least be 65, or you have to be over the age of 65, or have like a list of diseases, and diabetics is one of them. Or you can claim that you have alcoholism as well,
Yeah,
or like some kind of autoimmune disease. So the way a lot of people are getting past it, I mean, this is not a big podcast, so I can say it on here. A lot of people were just saying like they either have alcoholism on the form, or
yeah.
they have something else, and they can get the shot. But you can't get the shot like, or you got to have a prescription from your doctor. You can no longer just go to the clinic and get the COVID shot
When did
anymore.
this pass? I haven't been paying
About
attention.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay, because there's been like a weird rise in COVID recently
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
in our local area specifically. So this isn't like I'm not saying this is I haven't
yeah,
been paying
yeah.
attention like nationwide or anything like that, but that is an interesting coincidence that it's harder to
Well,
get the shot and cases are
COVID
going
cases
up.
have been rising everywhere. So
Yeah,
it's just crazy that you, unfortunately, you guys so happen to get it. But
yeah,
um
right.
yeah, when that happened, I immediately went to the CVS, scheduled it, got a prescription from my doctor. But they were like, "Oh, you're pre-diabetic as well, so you should be able to get it or whatever." I'm like, "Cool." So I got the pneumonia shot because I got pneumonia earlier this year.
Yeah.
I got the flu shot and I got the COVID shot. I felt like this is 2 days ago, by the way. So I feel like absolute shit yesterday. I was like,
Oh yeah,
"What?"
you got slammed with all three of those. Jesus, yeah,
Yeah.
that is a lot.
Um, by the end of the day, I was okay. But yeah, like during the workday, I thought I wasn't gonna make it. But I feel better now today. I went to the gym and everything like that. But yeah, I
Nice.
am gonna wear a mask and everything like that. I'm taking a charter flight because I'm flying through my company, so it's only gonna be like 30 people
Mm,
on board. But
okay.
I'm still wearing a mask and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Why are we pretending that COVID is it doesn't affect people that are healthy? I don't understand that.
I one like I said, I don't like to get political, but one is, this is not political. Both sides of the spectrum believe in this shit, like the anti-vax shit. So
Yeah.
a lot of people believe that your body is supposed to naturally fight off stuff, but like they don't believe in the vaccines right now because of like that it's called mRNA or something like that, which is already in our bodies, by the way, y'all. That
Yeah.
protein is already in our bodies. But they don't believe in the vaccine. So that, and then two, I mean, just years of propaganda, people saying that COVID's like having the regular flu, and oh, it's no bad, it's no worse. Because some people that did get COVID felt no symptoms, and then some people that did get COVID obviously shit the bed, and then some people that did get COVID as well, they felt like how you feel. You had like the
Yeah.
flu, but times three or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's just a
those sneezes, dude. I had these sneezing bouts, man, where I sneezed like 8 times in a row. And it's like, and you like can't control it, right? It's not, you're not, this isn't being performative or anything. Like I legitimately sneezed 8 times in a row in like a 2 minute span. And each one of when you have the flu, when you sneeze, your body, like you get the like shivers where it like kind of hurts a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
I had that. I was getting that, and when you're doing that, and dude, I do the 8 sneezes, right, and each one of them is like shattering my body or whatever, and I'm like, and by the end of it, I'm sitting there with a tissue, and you're just like, like you're
I,
like it's like you just ran a fucking marathon, bro. Like it's awful.
I
It's just awful.
I
Like
will say most of our demographics over the age of 25.
yeah,
So I will say to everybody, especially if you're getting older like me and you, start taking your vitamins now. Like the
yeah.
immune vitamins, the vitamin C's, all that shit. Just start taking that shit. If you are against the vaccines, I won't judge you, but just be aware you
I
need to
just
get.
I like okay this. I don't know. I'm not gonna go deep on this, but I just want to say two things. One is that and I'm actually going to hit both sides here with these comments. So, one is vaccines are proven to work. Like we literally have vaccines for things like polio and fucking all sorts of shit, okay? That literally work. Like they have worked for decades. I don't know why we are questioning the efficacy of vaccines as a concept. Like we don't believe in vaccines. That is completely absurd and stupid. But the second thing is the use of the word vaccine for these COVID vaccines is misleading because that's not what they are. Like vaccines are give you immunization against these diseases, right? Like that's not what the COVID thing does. It's like a booster shot that helps you fight it better than you would normally without it. Like it's not a
Well,
real
okay,
vaccine. You're not immune
so
to it, you know? It's like
that's a bit of a misnomer. I will correct you on that one. So the booster is they call it a booster, but it's not a booster. It's giving you an additional because viruses mutate over time, right?
yeah,
So let's say
right.
you have COVID A, right, and then COVID B comes out. Now COVID A and B are out there. You're already
Yeah, well, it's
vaccinated
like the
against COVID
flu,
A.
right? It's like
Yeah,
the flu.
exactly.
They have to
It-
change the flu every year. The shot
yeah,
they give you.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that's why they call it the booster or whatever. But
So
even with
they're not vaccines per se. Like they're vaccines
well,
against that strand, but it's like
yeah.
yeah.
Well, all vaccinations aren't 100% like fail proof, right?
Of
They're
course.
they
I
have
mean,
like
you
a
can't
90%, 90 or not
right.
90%, but like a 95 to 99% chance of catching whatever. But even if you do catch it, it says like if I were to catch the COVID, right? Um, it would be less harmful than it was on someone who didn't have the vaccine. So my body
Right.
would be able to fight it off way better than someone who didn't have the vaccination, if that makes any sense. Same
Right.
with the flu. You can still get the flu when you get the flu vaccine, but once you get it, like I remember I got the flu, I was only out for like a day compared to somebody who didn't get the flu vaccine ever and they're out for like a week or something like that.
Yeah.
Um like I never got pneumonia and I never got the pneumonia vaccine. And that shit took me out for like 3 weeks. Like I was like
Yeah. Yeah.
coughing and shit like that. So it's a give or take, and everything. I will agree that both sides are very bitter towards each other. But I will say I am on the bit of the vaccine. I am on the vaccine side. Because we got people like we have major influencers. I'm not going to say any names. We got major influencers pushing. They are against the polio vaccine. They said
Oh
no,
my
the polio
god.
vaccine didn't work, and I'm like, dude, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah,
Like,
I
it
don't I
literally.
look what are we talking about, bro? Like I think that's what I meant about the vaccine thing though is that the nature of like a flu shot versus an actual vaccine, like the vaccines you get as a child, those are true
Yeah,
vaccines. Those are different things and like we're using the same term for both. Not I don't know. I mean, maybe scientifically it's correct technically, but I think it's confusing. Like I think it leads to confusion for people and create but I don't the root of this is political for whatever reason we have decided to make this medical shit political. Everything's fucking political now. I don't
everything's political
it's fucking
nowadays,
ridiculous,
dude.
dude. It's
It's
so
so
stupid, bro.
crazy.
It's so ridiculous, man. Like it's just it's unbelievable. Like common sense has just left the conversation entirely, you know?
So you
Um
are right about that. There's a difference between immunization and vaccines. Immunization refers to the process of making someone immune to a specific disease, and then vaccination is like in preparation. it's
Yeah.
a biological preparation and use of immunization. So it's
Yeah.
like on the way there, but not all the way there. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Right. Which that shit we get as kids is more immunization type stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Exactly. Because
yeah.
it's been over years and years and years of you know
Right.
vaccinations and
Right.
shit like that. So they got it to the point where we are at immunization status. But even polio is coming back because some people aren't giving their kids polio
Fucking
vaccines now.
ridiculous, bro.
Yeah. Also, I was going to tell you guys, I didn't get a chance to tell you during the chat. I just didn't feel comfortable because I don't know how some of our friend groups feel about that. But they are saying that we have cats, so we really don't have to worry about cats really
Yeah.
communicating with other cats and stuff like that. But for
Yeah.
dogs, for people with dogs, there are some people who aren't vaccinating their dogs because they don't want their dogs to get quote unquote autism. So be aware that there have been cases rising of rabies
Oh my god.
all across America because of that
Yeah.
now. So just be aware of that stuff, y'all.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, you guys got your dose of politics and COVID to start the show this week. I hope you enjoyed that. We're gonna move on to the video game portion of the podcast. Welcome everybody to the Players Take episode 339. I'm your host Justin DeSimone, joined as always by my co-host Montrell Rice. This, for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us questions, you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. We will answer them on the show. All right, Montreal, let's get out of the mire of COVID talk and let's move into what we've been playing. Do you want to go first this week, or you want me to start? Actually, it looks like we have the same game, so maybe you go first, and we'll talk about the one I'm playing together.
Okay. So I did start playing the Division 2. I dropped Lost Souls aside. I don't know, man. The game, like I said, I think I described it last week. It's an okay game. 7 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. That's a decent game. But it has it's really long. Not really long, but I can tell that it really wants to be like a Final Fantasy 16 type game, and it just doesn't have the Final Fantasy 16 like style and story and everything.
Just a lesser than version of it.
Yeah. The combat's really fun, but everything else is lacking, unfortunately. Um, which should be enough for me to play the game, but I'm stuck with the same two weapons for at least the first 7 hours of the game, and I'm like, all right, bro, like, can I get another weapon? Because it's just a sword, and I hate great swords in action games, so they always slow as fuck. And a great sword, so you get other weapons along the way as well. And I'm trying to hurry up and do that, but I just dropped the game for right now because I was getting really annoyed. I found myself not really enjoying the game as much as I thought I would. Plus, I don't feel bad because I wasn't the one that was like championing Lost Souls aside. I was just like, I don't know. Games usually take this long to come out. They usually disappoint me, and I wasn't disappointed because I wasn't expecting anything. So.
Isn't this an interesting moment though with these games? Like, I feel like there's a lot of these just like mid action games all coming out in the last month. Like there's a lot of them, dude. Like there's Lost Soul Side. There's the one you were playing. I don't even remember the name of it anymore. There's Hell Is Us, which is also just came out as well. I feel like there was another one that I'm thinking of as well. That came out
A
in
lot of those are
August.
like Souls likes. Even the Hell Is Us, I think, is a Souls like game, right?
Sort of. It has puzzle elements to it. It's yeah.
Yeah, and the other action. Oh, Wu Chang is a fucking Souls like. So here's the thing. I don't really consider like Souls like the traditional action games. Like Lost Souls aside is a traditional action
It's
game
like
in my
more
opinion.
more like a character action game.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like the Souls likes those are action games, yes, but I don't know. They just really annoy me because they just don't really bring. I mean, Wu Chang did bring some interesting concepts to the table, like the whole clash mechanic and everything. Um, I thought that was like really cool, but like outside of that, like I really didn't. The game was okay, and I don't want to go back and play it again, or whatever. So it is what it is. Then the other game I've been playing, like I'm starting to get heavy into this game. Is Shinobi because I just like I like Metroidvania. This is a really good Metroidvania. They have some really interesting fucking platforming in the game, and they really test you like going forward in the game. So you really have to be on your platforming shit with the game because you unlock stuff to help you with
I
movement
love that shit.
and everything. Yeah, and one game I can compare it to, even though I haven't played it, but I see a lot of people compare it to, is the Prince of Persia, the Lost Prince or the Lost
Yes,
Crown.
I love that shit in that
Um,
game, man. Oh my
yeah,
god.
so people were like, "Yo, if you like Shinobi, you should go try, that new Prince of Persia game that people really didn't, play because it was an Ubisoft game, but like it's a really good game." So after I play Shinobi, I am going to go back and play that game as
Okay.
well.
Yeah,
Um,
there's some really cool platforming puzzles in that game actually.
okay,
Um there's a lot of cuz it's a lot of those like, pits that are full of like, razor blades on every fucking wall or whatever, and if you fuck up one part of it, you just die or whatever, and you
yeah,
have to try.
they have the exact same thing in
Yeah.
Shinobi as well.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep. Yeah, so it's
uh,
good stuff in that game.
yeah, it has a really good combo system and everything as well, a combat system and everything. So speaking of combos, I have been playing this too.
Mm.
So I did get into the beta, and I
Okay.
have been playing 2XKO. Uh,
Okay.
simple to learn, very difficult to master, but simple to
Okay.
learn. I can definitely see casuals playing this like us playing this against each other or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is definitely difficult to master. Because there are like interesting mechanics in the game. The characters do really interesting things. I think that the most difficult one for me so far to learn is Echo because he has this time switch mechanic.
Yeah.
He can like put after images of himself. He can teleport right back. So obviously you can do like very interesting things. You can tag characters in and out. You have like the beta. You get 3 different tag mechanics that you can choose from.
Yeah.
I don't know all of them, but like, yeah, there it's fucking crazy. Like you have the option to just play with one character, um, and that character just be super fucking strong. Like
Okay.
you can just play with that character. Or you have the option to do like you can tag characters in like twice in a row. So you can tag a character in and then tag them out and then tag them back in again and then tag them out again like that.
Yeah.
But you have a longer cooldown period or whatever for assist or whatever the case may be. And then there's another one. I forgot the other one. But yeah, I think the characters are really cool. I like Ari. She's like really cool. Obviously, she's like the standard character you train with, and I play with her in League. She's my main so far. Um,
Mm.
I, I think I'm gonna go with like Ari and Yasu or Ari Alawi. Blitz is like really good in this game. He's a grapple character.
Yeah.
He's fucking huge too. Like he's not the little Blitz that you see.
I saw some of his move set. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. So I think if you're trying to get into a fighting game, I think this is a good one to get into. It has simple controls, so which means you don't have to do the Hadouken motion to do abilities. It's just like you press over and then a special button, or you press back in the special button, or down in the special button, up in the special button, and then that's how you do your special
Oh, so
abilities.
it's more like
And then
Smash. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And you have 2 special buttons, and then you can like uh you do certain inputs. Like I think it's like you do over and then the special button twice to do the supers or stuff like that. So it's not complicated at all. Like I said, it's just hard. Is you just gotta memorize your combat because your combos because you do have light, medium, heavy, and stuff like
Mm.
that.
Okay.
So like I said, I think it's if you're an action or not an action game fan, but a fighting game fan, and you've been gone a long time, like me, I haven't played a fighting game since DBZ Fighters.
Hmm.
Um, and you're getting back into it. This is a really good game to get back into it with. I also heard I didn't get into the beta unfortunately for that game, but I also heard the other game that just they just did the Marvel token or
Oh,
Tokon.
Tokon. Yeah.
Yeah, Tokon is the same way as far as how they have set up. But it's a little bit more in depth, way more in depth actually. But I didn't get into that beta, so I can't tell you how that
Mm.
game was, unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to play some more 2XKO before I go on vacation.
Yeah.
Or not vacation, but I have to go to the conference and then I go on vacation or
Yeah.
whatever. But I will be playing more of that. And the last game I've been playing before we get to the game we both been playing was the Division 2. I really wanted the game. I didn't really want to play another like in-depth like single player game. Like I'm surprised I even started playing Death Stranding 2. I think I only started playing it because my wife was next to me and she was like, I don't want to see you play a shooting game. Can you play something else? And I was like, okay, cool. And start playing Death Stranding 2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I started playing Division 2. Have no idea why I wanted to play. I wanted to play a game that I can shut my brain off and play. And this is the perfect game to do it. Tons of content still. I actually restarted my character, so my character's level 25. Because the last character we had, it was the one I played with you guys. That was the last character I had.
Yeah.
I still have the clan. The clan is still up.
Okay.
Actually, entitled gamers.
You're so stupid. Okay.
But yeah, this is one of the few games though where your level actually matters. I'm level 21 or 22 or whatever, and I tried to go into a level 24 area to do a mission, and I got absolutely obliterated. So this is one of the few games where I also forgot about that. Like each zone, it's divided by levels. So you can't just go and immediately take over the zone. You get immediately fucked up or whatever. And I was like, oh wow, I appreciate that. This is like one of the few looter shooters that, you know, my level actually fucking matters or whatever the case may be. As well as your skills and everything of that nature. So like I said, it's nothing's too super fancy with the game or whatever. But you know, it's a good game for you to just like play solo and do content with. You can help other agents sometime if you want to. They'll call out to you or whatever. Like it'll say, agent needs help, and you can go into their instance and help them or whatever. But they just released more content for the game, so they're still supporting this game.
What are we doing, Ubisoft? Where's the Division 3? What are we doing?
So they actually just released another update because they had a year or two ago. They released the update for Manhattan, so you can go, you can fly back over to Manhattan.
Oh, now, what? In the Division 2?
Yeah. So you can go over to Manhattan now, and then cool. And now there's another part of New York you can go. I think it's the Bronx or Brooklyn or something like that. You can fight over in Brooklyn now, or whatever. And now they're doing another update that they just announced that's coming out later on, like next month or something like that.
Is this game still mega active or something?
I was finding people to play with, bro.
Okay.
So I guess so.
Okay. I mean, did they fix the Dark Zone or anything?
I haven't went into the Dark Zone yet.
Okay.
I have not went
into I mean, that's still my biggest issue with 2 is that.
Yeah. So I mean, from what I've been watching videos on it. So if you are going into it for PvP, a lot of the influencers, like they have not fixed the PvP yet, so don't expect anything from that. But the PvE is pretty fun. Still, they're doing updates. So I just been focused on the PvE and stuff like that. You can get all your like best gear and loot just from doing the challenges in PvE and the strongholds and stuff like that. So it's pretty fun. It's a pretty turn off your brain fun game that I'm playing.
I mean, you got a perfectly fine looter shooter coming out tonight though with Montrell, Borderlands 4. You're not gonna join me and Jet?
Oh, it's tonight? I know it's tonight.
It's already out on PC actually.
Okay.
It comes out in 4 hours on
I did see the reviews. The reviews were really it got a decent score.
Which we'll get into that later, but well, I mean who cares about the score though, man? Like it looks fun. I don't know. I'm getting it. I'm going to play with Jet probably this weekend. A little bit. I don't know. Like he's so into it right now. I need to take advantage of this. I've wanted you guys to play Borderlands with me for fucking 10 years, even though I haven't even known you that long, but you know, like like literally since I met you, I've wanted to play fucking Borderlands with you guys. So I'm going to take advantage of it while I can, you know, Montrell, if you want to join us.
You know, maybe that's what I need to do. I need to play Borderlands with a group of people. So I'll get it. Okay. I'll get it.
Well, plus I've been so we'll talk about I've been in single player. Me and Montrell have been in single player land for weeks now. Like deep in the wilderness of single player land. Like we haven't played a multiplayer game since July, I feel like. Am I wrong? Like
no, you're right. When August hit, we just went into deep single player mode.
We went cold turkey on the we got the multiplayer games cold turkey, man. And I'm getting like I'm getting the itch, and I'm like, I don't want to play League though, and I don't really
Yeah,
want to play I
exactly.
don't want to play PUBG either. And Borderlands is kind of hitting at the perfect moment where it's like, okay, this is perfect. We can play a co-op game. Like that's brand new. Everybody wants to play it. You know, it's like this is the perfect fucking game. Perfect timing. Like right when I want to play multiplayer again, you know. So yeah, I'm getting this tonight. I'm gonna be playing it this weekend for sure. Very excited about it. Jet's playing Vex, the Siren.
Okay.
I don't know who I'm gonna play. I want to play Vex as well. So I mean, the different skill trees are different enough where you can play the same character with multiple people. Probably be okay. So I don't know. I may play her. But I may play. I kind of want to play like a character by myself and a character with you guys, though. So I may play her by myself and then pick one of the other ones with the group. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure. But yeah, other than that, you've been playing Death Stranding 2 though as well.
Yeah, so I played maybe like 2 hours of Death Stranding 2, and off rip, I will say the game is fucking gorgeous.
I
Holy shit.
I
It's
told you.
so good. It's so beautiful, dude. I didn't even change it to the fucking performance mode until like an
Really?
hour or two in the game. Yeah, bro. I was
But
like,
dude, the
this shit.
performance mode isn't even that much worse. That's the crazy part. Like I like turned into performance mode, and I was like, the frame rate's perfectly buttery smooth, right? And it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't even look that different. I'm like, holy fuck, what is going on here, man? Like,
I don't know who he sold his soul to, but the game, like, I'm not even a graphics whore like that. The
yeah,
game looks fucking
no, it's the most
amazing,
beautiful
dude.
game I've ever seen. Period. Like,
And yeah, I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
yeah,
It's that good. Like,
yeah.
I don't
I
know
mean,
when
he's always pushed graphical fidelity though. Like, to be fair,
yeah, but his he always had the gameplay to match it. If that makes any sense.
yeah,
But like,
yeah,
I don't know. He, the opening scenes and then to where you go to like you're standing on the cliffside with fucking Lou. I'm just
yeah,
like, dude, and it just goes straight to gameplay. I'm like,
yeah.
no fucking way, this is the game.
Well, dude, did you see? So, do you agree with me about the character animation too? Like the movement of
Yeah,
everybody, dude, it's insane, isn't it? It's
yeah,
like some of the
bro.
most fluid, natural looking shit I've ever seen in a game. Like there's none of
Yeah, I
that
made
like
it.
herky jerky motion, that comes with mocap sometimes. Like it's
Yeah,
all so
yeah,
fluid and smooth. Like I feel like I'm watching a fucking movie.
yeah, dude. Like it's crazy. I made it to the first station in Mexico. Actually, I'm sorry,
Okay.
the second way station where you had to
Mm.
deliver to the lady that's pregnant. So I
La,
made it
La
there and then I turned
Madre.
off the. Yeah, I made it there and I turned it off or whatever. But another thing that took me back was the dialogue wheel. I'm like, what the fuck is this Mass Effect now? Like, it-
It's not you're not making any choices. It's like
yeah, you're
you get
not.
to ask people questions basically, and if you don't want to, you can skip it essentially. So um but well, I guess so you haven't played that much, but like what do you think of it so far, a couple hours in? Like in terms of
um,
like gameplay and stuff and movement.
uh, gameplay and movement. I mean, I will agree with you. Like they did a way better job as far as like introducing you to the game and the mechanics. I had the option to completely skip the mule camp. I
Yep.
mean, I'm not spoiling anything for y'all. Y'all will experience just like literally the first hour of the game.
Yeah.
I completely skipped the mule camps or whatever the case may be. I did do like one stealth takedown or whatever. And the weather effects and everything like that, as far as like the river actually getting bigger and then getting smaller. I went through the death storm, the thunder death storm and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The game is actually just I don't know. I honestly I want to take my PlayStation 5 with me to Vegas to play the game, uh, or whatever. But I also don't want to because I'm probably not going to be online, obviously, because like I'm gonna be in a hotel room or whatever. So
Right.
I don't know. I'm up in the air about it, because I really want to experience like the full like network experience when I'm playing the game and
Mm,
shit like that.
mhm,
So
mhm.
I may just wait, because I think that was my my very very first time trying Death Stranding, like way back in the day. That was my first mistake because I played it offline because I was working overnights or whatever.
Oh no,
So
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I'm not gonna do that this time. So I'm gonna wait. I actually, as soon as I get off that conference, I'm going on vacation. So that week I'm gonna be playing. I'm gonna be shit facing a lot of games and stuff like that week. So yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, I am 55 to 60% through the game according to PlayStation. Um, Progression wise, I'm only in episode 7 though. I'm at the very end of episode 7, I think, um, and I think there's like 16 chapters total in the game. So I'm like halfway, a little over halfway maybe, in the game, and it's it is really interesting playing it. I've been in a bad headspace, obviously, with being sick and whatnot recently. So I do feel like I've like lost a little of the um I don't know, enjoyment playing the game somewhat. Like I've been waiting. I've been like really looking forward to Borderlands actually this week. But but at the same time, I'd say the last day or two I've kind of gotten back into it in a really big way where I'm kind of enjoying the progression and stuff. I think the pace in the game is significantly better than the first game. Where the majority of your gameplay in the first game was really shoved into like 3 chapters, maybe 4 in the game, and like significantly, like where chapter 3 was like a 20-hour chapter, um in the first game. There really isn't anything like that so far in this game. The chapters are they're much better spaced out. You're really doing, it's probably 3 to 4 hours per chapter, for the most part. And it it's kind of pretty evenly spaced for the most part. So I'm enjoying that aspect of it. I think the enhancements in the game, and you're gonna see this, like, they really kind of up the ante with everything. Every structure in the game got some type of modification or upgrade to it that makes it more useful than the first game, which is really cool. That it's honestly to the point that like every structure is actually useful in this game, whereas in the first game, I really didn't build anything that wasn't a zip line in the first game. I very rarely built anything else with my PCC in the first game. So I think that's been really, really cool. The weapons are much more robust in this game. There's more weapon classes. You actually get sniper rifles and heavy machine guns in this game. You actually get different types of pistols as well in this game, also, like grenade pistols, and they give you the mazer gun early, which is the one that does like an electric shock to people if you hold the trigger or whatever. Um, and then they also vehicles are a little different as well in this game. So you do not level your vehicles up the way you did in the first game. They give you the base model of the vehicle, and then they actually have this whole attachment system with vehicles now, where they start giving you attachments that you can fabricate and put on the vehicle, and then you can kind of make a blueprint for a vehicle that you want fabricated, essentially. And these attachments can be batteries, or the most obvious one, like extra batteries. But I just got an attachment for like armor plating that kind of makes the vehicle more durable. There are also these 2 side attachment slots you can use where you can put like a automatic machine gun turret on like a truck or whatever, and it will auto target enemies and fire at them if you're in the truck or whatever. But there's also this other attachment. This one's a lot more useful to me. I prefer this one. Is it will auto grab cargo that is nearby. So you'll drive towards something, and you'll be driving towards something, and then it will like kind of auto target the case basically, and then it will pull it towards you and put it inside the cargo, the cargo bed of the truck, basically. And I have found a stupid amount of joy just driving around with the truck and just auto grabbing everything that I scan basically, and going and turning it in, or or using the materials or whatever on like rebuilding roads or enhancing structures or whatever. It's a very much more enjoyable system than the first game, where you had to get out of vehicles to pick up cargo and put them in the vehicle. You don't have to do that in this game now, and that's fucking. It's a small thing, but it significantly makes the gameplay significantly more fun. You're not starting and stopping constantly. It's actually very interesting in the sense that like you can drive the truck up to like a ledge, that you can't even climb, and there might be something like hanging up, I don't know, 20 feet in the air, and it can grab that. It has the range to like grab something like that too. So there is some utility to it also, in the game, which is pretty cool. Some of the other stuff like the building roads is excuse me, a lot easier in the early game in this game. It does not take very many materials to get the first few roads up and running. I have a huge amount of the road network built on the western side of the continent now. And I'm still working on the rest, but that's cool. There's a lot of new gadgets and stuff as well in the game. Just a lot of new items that you get that you can use, new types of grenades, new types of attachments, new types of equipment you can use. There's just so much stuff in it. They've really like fleshed out Death Stranding as a game concept a lot more than the first game did. And from a gameplay standpoint, like the game is vastly superior. Like it's just so much better to play than the first game. Which to be fair, I will say, like I know everybody said that like Death Stranding 2 is better than Death Stranding 1. And I don't necessarily disagree with that sentiment per se, but I will say there is a charm to the first game that is kind of undeniable for me. And one of the things that is different with this game is the first game is a very somber, lonely game. Like you don't run into people very often. And you are not interacting with people like beyond the hologram stuff when you deliver things. You're not really interacting with people in person very often in the game. That's kind of obviously it's a major theme of the game. This game is significantly different in that regard. You are kind of with people a lot in this game, so it's got a very different tone as a result in some ways, which is weird because the nature of the story as such is that it's not necessarily like a more upbeat game than the first game in a lot of ways, but you still have that aspect of having a lot more people around. So I don't know, it's there's like a I don't know. It's for me. It's weird. It's like I acknowledge that the game's better in a lot of ways, but for like from a tone standpoint, I kind of like the first game better. I kind of like the lonely isolation of the first game. It felt a lot more like you were the one doing everything in the first game, and there's some truth to that still in this game as well. But it's like you really were kind of like just like the guy, like you were the man. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. You'll kind of, I think you'll hopefully see it more when you get deeper into the game. But yeah, I will say the other thing too is the geography in this game is interesting. I think they went out of their way to make the continent significantly easier to traverse with vehicles without any roads being built in this game than they did in the first game. Like driving your vehicle in the first game in certain areas was really painful if there were no roads. And that is not really the case here as much. I have been kind of abusing the shit out of vehicles in this game, actually. It's very doable early on, and even later where I am in the mid game, it's still pretty manageable for the most part to drive vehicles almost everywhere. So which, I mean, take it or leave it, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But I mean, the continent in this game is huge. Like it is a massive play space in this game. So yeah. What else? Combat wise, a lot more fun. You have way more options to take enemies out. Approaching encounters is way more tactical. You can kind of tackle it however you want. You can be stealthy, you can not be stealthy, you can kind of run and gun if you want. You can snipe. Like I said, there's snipers in the game now. Like you can kind of fight from a distance and funnel enemies in, and use grenades to kill them all when they're clustered. You can do that kind of gameplay. You can drive around with the vehicle and fight people while you're in the vehicle. You can actually shoot people while you're sitting in the vehicle. And stuff, so you can play it that way as well. So I think the game is significantly better from a combat standpoint, like crazy leaps and bounds. That is the biggest improvement in the game by far, is certainly the combat. I think the stealth in particular is a lot better in this game. It is way more reasonable to take down mule camps exclusively through stealth than it was in the first game. It was almost impossible to do in the first game for most of them. And in this one, it is commonly you're capable of doing it in almost every single one of them. So that's a huge improvement with the game as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's great. I'm enjoying it a lot. I am looking forward to getting into the later portions of the game, though. It's yeah, it's a big game. I think there's like 42 locations total that you need to do in the whole game. You don't have, obviously for the story, you don't have to connect them all if you don't want to, but I'm planning on full completing as much as I can. I will say with Borderlands coming out, though, I'm probably going to slow down on this game a little bit. I am golden pathing this, though, a lot more than I did with the first game. And I am kind of planning to finish the story first before I do a lot of the end game, the getting everybody 5-star and building out, the road network and everything. I'm doing some of that now, but I'm kind of doing it when it's convenient. I'm not really like going out of my way for it right now. so yeah. Really fun game. Montrell, is this like, are you planning to kind of mainline this as your kind of main single player game, or you're kind of taking it with the other ones right now and splitting it up?
I'm kind of splitting it up right now. I may mainline it, but I do want to take like one game at a time. I just don't know which one yet I'm going to mainline. I think I'm probably just going to finish up Shinobi and then try to finish this game up as well.
Okay.
Or then try to tackle this game rather.
Fair enough. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on to the news, which we don't have a ton of news this week. So, but we do have a couple interesting stories here. So, first one is an article from GameIndustry.biz. They released an article this week. This was written by Rob Fahey, and he wrote an article titled "Console Pricing Has Gone Terribly Wrong," and this is an opinion piece of his. And so this isn't really news, but this was kind of jumping off the Capcom president comments from last week that we talked about. And basically he was saying, some things that this is kind of proving out of, how much of an issue this is becoming. Cause he says he has sources that agree with Capcom's president. And he brings up things that are relatively valid here that, traditionally in video games historically, console pricing has gone down over the course of a console generation, not up. That this is the first time that it has actually gone up in the middle of a generation than gone down. But some of the things he said, though, I will say there's some stuff in here, and I would recommend you guys read it for sure. There are some arguments he makes in here, though, about the Switch in particular that had me scratching my head, because he was saying that Nintendo is the one who's trying to keep console pricing down, yet doesn't acknowledge the fact that Nintendo just increased the Switch price like a few weeks ago, and also, mentioned, there was another thing in here. I'm trying to find what it was. Sorry, Miss Kitty shown up and is demanding attention as well. But I mean, Montreal, what do you think of this idea that this is a real problem? I know we were kind of dismissing it out of hand last week. But if you take it at a more macro level, not just in the specific window of Monster Hunter,
No, outside of Monster Hunter, I'm sorry, I may cut you off.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, outside of Monster Hunter, I feel like no, it makes sense. I totally get I think that this is a problem. This is like 5-year-old hardware that's still that goes up in price.
Yeah.
So something's not adding up. I think people need to connect the dots.
Yeah.
I just don't think that. I think for America in particular, um, I think this is affecting everything everywhere, but I think
Yeah.
because we're like a major consumer market over here, our tariffs are like out of control. I think we need to like shift back the tariffs.
Yeah.
Because now it's affecting like a lot of other stuff, but like particularly with gaming, I didn't expect it to hit us first or last or whatever, but I did expect it to hit us, and
Yeah.
I thought it would be honestly, I thought it was going to be staved off. I thought it was going to be like, they're going to keep postponing it, and then they were just like, all right, we're not doing this shit anymore. But it happened. So I think people need to come to the realization that tariffs aren't really blanketed tariffs aren't really a good thing. If you do targeted tariffs, then you know
Yeah.
things come from that. But blanket tariffs against every country is just not really a good thing. And I think a lot of people have to come to that realization because unfortunately, you can't talk about the pricing of the PlayStation, the Xbox, and stuff like that without talking about the tariffs. And some people consider that political. It's just economics at this point. Like we're not. I'm not
Yeah.
saying whatever. I'm just saying that is what it is. And yeah, I think yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So I found what I was thinking about, or what I was talking about here, though,
Mhm.
is he mentions so how Sony doesn't have an Xbox Series S. So he mentions in here there were two things he talked about that I was kind of like, huh? Like I felt like I was like reading, like I'm surprised this guy's like in the industry writing about this, is because he said the Nintendo thing was the first thing he said, and then he dropped that into a point about Sony not having an Xbox Series S, and that the Xbox Series S is the best strategic move Microsoft has made with its hardware this generation. Where I would argue it's the worst decision they've made. They ended up like they like, because we know for a fact there are more Xbox Series S's in the wild than there are X's. So Microsoft has basically hamstrung their entire fucking ecosystem with the Xbox Series S because that's the one everybody has bought. So now games have to cater to that lowest common denominator, and are kind of like anchored by that instead of being buoyed up. So he was arguing that Sony needs its own S kind of console variant, um, going forward in order to
I hard disagree with that.
continue to compete. Yeah, and I hard disagree as well. Obviously, we had talked about the rumors, last week as well, of Sony having an S coming for the Xbox, or sorry, for the PlayStation 6. So they're thinking along these lines. It's just the way they execute it that matters, I think. And maybe they'll execute it differently than Microsoft did, but I don't think Xbox made a good decision with the Series S. I think we thought we thought it was going to be a good entry point for people, which it proven to be that, but we didn't. I think nobody really considered the repercussions that have clearly formed from that device being the majority of the player base on the Xbox side. So there was, yeah. Go ahead. Good.
I'm sorry. Keep going. Come on.
No. I was gonna go to a different point. So go ahead if
Yeah,
you
go
want to jump
to that
off
point.
there.
Go to that point. Go to that
Okay.
point. Go to that point.
And yeah, there was one other thing he mentioned. This was actually a very good point, though. I think, is he did mention that in a history of consoles, typically the way the cycle has worked is that consoles come out and they're at their peak of their price point, right, when they come out. And as the generation goes on, you have hardware revisions, and the hardware gets easier to make and it's cheaper to make, and you lower the price, right? And you
Yep.
get people in later in the generation that couldn't afford to get in early in, and you get young people in at that point as well because the console's so cheap, right? That has been a typical way that you've grown the console market generation after generation. That isn't going to happen here because we aren't lowering the price. We are increasing the price. So we're making it harder to get into the console market than it was 5 years ago when the console launched. So that is going to be a significant long-term ramification potentially of the console pricing increasing, which I totally agree with. I think that is a very salient point. And it's something that long-term we will see the ramifications of it with the next generation and the generation after that. These aren't things that are going to play out quickly necessarily, but it is one of those things like where the PlayStation 5 pricing is now and Xbox pricing is right now, and even Switch at $450 for Switch 2. It is going to be interesting to see where younger people land, going forward, because they're not going to have that kind of money necessarily on their own. Parents
Yeah,
are going to help like they always have, right? But kids buying these things on their own is becoming a lot less feasible because of how expensive they are. So yeah, I'll let you jump in there if you have any
yeah.
thoughts.
I think we're gonna see a huge rise in like mobile games, free to play games and stuff like that. Like a lot of the already established games are gonna come back or have an even bigger growth potential
Mm-hmm.
because of that. Also, we're gonna just see a um, huge market of or a huge player base just stay on the PS4 for as long as they can. Unfortunately, um, because yeah, a lot of not only can like the younger generation can't afford it, but unfortunately, as of right now, um, a lot of kids coming out of college can't get jobs. So
Yeah,
it's definitely one thing. One thing I don't necessarily maybe I misheard it, but I don't necessarily agree with like I don't think this is going to become the norm with the next console generations because of this tariff thing. I truly believe this is like all because of the tariffs. I don't think it's because
the
like a
temporary
lack of
bubble. Yeah,
yes, I think it's a temporary bubble. I do agree that over time stuff gets easier, sits on shelves longer, and then it becomes cheaper, and then people are able to buy it. But I think the reason why this is such a phenomenal time is because, or not a phenomenal rather, but this is because a weird time is because of like the market and the way we're handling the tariff situation and there's just a lot of stuff going on that you can't help but notice or talk about.
hmm
And I understand he tries not to talk about it here as well because I wouldn't really talk about it, but it is a significant portion that he's kind of like leaving out. Even with inflation happening, the market, the consoles will still get cheaper. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. In that aspect. And then what was the other point you mentioned? I'm sorry, before the
that
kids.
that it's harder for kids to get in with the increased price, so that means we're gonna have less new consumers in the space
Oh,
going
okay, yeah,
forward. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
Uh, and did you make a point about Nintendo or no during that whole thing?
that was the first thing I mentioned, was that he was talking about Nintendo keeping their console pricing low, like not increasing their prices, which is literally not true. Like we were talking about, they increased
Oh
the Switch
yeah,
One price. Yeah.
and so there
Um.
was it was another point too in there as well. So the first one that's bullshit, and I get back to that why that's bullshit. We already know why Nintendo. Actually, I'm gonna say my point for like the last story that we have.
mhm,
But um the second thing is I think where Xbox fucked up. They should have made a mid range console and then a high range console. So they should
Yeah.
have did like what PlayStation did. I think what PlayStation needs to do and what Xbox needs to do if they're ever going to have another console market, they don't need to do the Series S anymore. What they need to do is do a PS6 and a PS6 Pro, Xbox and the Xbox whatever and the Xbox whatever Pro or XX or whatever the fuck edition or whatever the case may be.
Xbox
Um,
Triple X.
yeah, like porn edition or something, right? Um, but I think that's what they need to do. I don't think we need lower end consoles. I think we need to
hmm
make a base console that everything can be supported on, and then if you want to upgrade to the super duper good stuff, if you have the money, then you can do that. I think that's where a lot of I understand what Xbox's like mentality was, but I think it came back and blew them in the ass because obviously we see why. So I think going forward, I just
Yeah.
think if we're gonna do that, like already had the mid range console or the upgrade already available for people. when both
Yeah.
consoles come out, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, the only way it works in my mind, and Sony has the power to make this happen, by the way, is that they need developers to actually commit to making their games at the top end and lowering the specs rather than starting at the bottom and going up from there, like upscaling. That's kind of the solve for the problem with the Series S, and Microsoft, I think, came in at a time where developers didn't want to do that, right? They weren't prepared to do that. They didn't want to do that. They don't want to make all these different versions of the game with different, like, quality levels of the graphics and everything. I think that's what Sony, if they want to do a similar strategy to Microsoft, like that's what they have to do, is they need to commit developers to actually like make the game for the main console, and that's what you're making the game for, right? That's what it needs to work on for sure. But after that, kind of tamp things down so you can get it on our Slim or whatever they're going to call it, S console, or whatever the case, and then go from there. Because we saw the issues with the S this generation with, like, Baldur's Gate 3 being the most famous example of a game that like literally couldn't run on the S. They couldn't get it to run, and they just, and Microsoft had that mandate that it had to play on the S or it wouldn't be published on Xbox. And I think developers weren't really in the mindset to make every game work. I think that's the other issue too, is the S has such a significant hardware gap with the X that developers don't want to bridge that gap. I think the PlayStation console we're talking about is going to have a much smaller gap in its hardware power level, comparatively to from this S version to the main console. So those are the kind of the big things I think Sony would need to fix to make it work, which they're certainly capable of doing. But we'll see what they do. Because I on its face, I don't hate the idea. I think having a low cost entry point makes a lot of sense. But it needs to be something that can hold up to what developers want to do, in terms of pushing power and pushing, the technology and stuff like that. So, I don't know. We'll see with this next generation. I think PS6 is I'm really fascinated by the strategy, from Sony's point of view with that console, because Xbox isn't really competition in this next generation. So if that's the case, what's the strategy really? Like, is it trying to get as many people as humanly possible on your console? Obviously, that's always a strategy to some degree, but are you trying to eat into Nintendo's pie with the handheld? Is that more the focus? I'll be very interested to see kind of where they go with the next generation. So all right, Montrell, anything else you want to say on that one?
Nope, that's it.
All right, let's move on to our next story. So Mark Darrahs, we talked about his first part 1 video on Anthem's development a few weeks ago. He came out with part 2 this week. Montreal, did you have a chance to check it out? I know it's a 2-hour video, so
No, I'm honestly, between work and then coming home, I've been super busy, so I haven't had a chance to play it. I haven't had a chance to watch it, rather.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go over the key points here, right? So,
okay.
So there are a few takeaways for me, but one of the big ones was when he came into the project. So this last video was long because this is kind of the period that Mark was leading the project. Was 2017 through the game's launch in 2019. Those are the 2 years that he was leading the project. And he said that when he came into it, basically a huge number, the project was having issues making decisions. Like, people were not making decisions for the project, so they were kind of stalled out in a lot of ways, and these decisions were like piling up that needed to be made. So when he came in, he kind of had to make a lot of these decisions, but you're doing it in a time frame that's very short, and he didn't really fully have the full scope of the project in mind as well. So this created a lot of issues. And in particular, there was one thing he mentioned where they had only made one mission when he jumped onto the project, and it was the Den of Wolves mission, which I think is one of the first missions in the game that you play that actually came out. And they
Yeah.
were just basically they were using that mission, and every time they made changes, they kept remaking that mission over and over and over and over again
Holy shit.
instead of making new missions to like test some of these other things out or like create more content. They just kept recreating the same mission over and over again. And even to the point when he joined the project, he told the teams to stop doing that. And they kept continuing to do it anyways, even after he told them specifically stop doing that. So that ended up being a huge issue, which I think led to the obvious lack of content we ultimately got in the game because they never made anything else,
Was it just
I
because
mean,
they didn't want to, or because they
I
didn't know
don't
how to?
know. They didn't know how to, or it wasn't really clear necessarily why they kept doing that per se. But I think it was a combination of they didn't like there was no leader. The leaders in place just were not making those definitive decisions to say like we need to do something different here with the development process. And I think the teams got like really stuck in their ways over the course of the project, and they just continued to do things the way they knew how to do it because it was comfortable. It was one of those situations.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that, I mean, obviously, because I mean, dude, it was shocking listening to the video because he goes over the timeline basically, and dude, he's in like summer of 2018. I mean, the game came out in February 2019, if you remember. And he's in the timeline in 2018 talking about them still having to make decisions about major systems and things like that. And I'm like, bro, the game comes out in 8 months. What are you talking about, bro? And I mean, we like knew this from Jason Schreier's expose back in the day, when the game first came out, and all that. But it just like reiterated how bad it actually was. They didn't. It seems clear that they weren't really making missions until very, very, very late in development, like last 6 to 9 months. Like they were not making content for the game still, which is completely insane. Like it's crazy. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like we played the game, bro. I'm trying to remember how many missions were in the game, but it was not a lot. It was like what, 6 or 8 maybe. Like it was pretty light, and when you got to end game, you just replayed those 6 or 8 over and over again on like a higher
Yeah.
difficulty. Like there was no new missions when you got to end game, when you beat the game or whatever. It's so yeah, that was frustrating. He also mentioned that the one of the other issues was the nature of the teams being remote, in terms of the Austin team. They he said that there was no defined, like the leadership that was there at Austin was not in lockstep with the leadership that was in Edmonton. So that created this situation where they were not communicating well together because Austin was taking communication and not really, you know, disseminating it the way it was supposed to be. So they ended up kind of being siloed as a result, and a lot of feedback from Austin was actually not making its way to Edmonton either. Because the Austin team is the one that's made a live service game before, with the Star Wars: The Old Republic, right?
Yeah.
So they're the ones that had experience in this space, and they were not being listened to by the Edmonton team either, and that was a huge issue that he mentioned as well. And he took a lot of the blame himself. He said that he didn't like. Unfortunately, he was in Edmonton, so a lot of the biases that had formed in the Edmonton team kind of rubbed off on him, and he kind of started to believe them himself, which then further alienated the Austin team as well. So this whole production was in complete disarray, unfortunately. And he said that this was, kind of normal for BioWare. The game was coming together in the very end, but because of what it was and what it was supposed to be, they didn't have time to pull it together, actually, and it just didn't come together in the end. The other major thing was flying. He talked about this a lot in the video, actually, is that he said that flying is like he what was the quote? He said it was the best and worst mechanic in Anthem at the same time.
I can believe that.
Because and
I could definitely
well,
believe that.
and yeah, he mirrored what I think a lot of people feel, or he said what a lot of people feel about it, is that it feels great. Like playing and flying in the game feels awesome, right? But what he said was, and this makes sense. I remember the game, is that the game flying was taken in and out of the game so many times, and they had rebuilt the missions so many times in the game over the course of development, that when they put flying back in for the final time, the game had been developed for a year or two up to that point when it had come back in, with the assumption that it was boots on the ground. So the missions were designed with boots on the ground gameplay, where you're using cover on the ground and shit like that. So when you put flying back in, you completely do away with all the level design that you've created, because it's not created around the concept of flying, right? And that he said that it ended up being a huge problem, is that the flying felt great, but when you're playing the game, it completely nullified the gameplay, because yeah, you can just fly through the air, and like melee enemies are completely worthless because they can't get to you, and even ranged enemies, like they need certain types of weapons to even be effective. It's like and the game just wasn't. They didn't end up taking the time to fix that core design issue with flying. So the game felt really disjointed as a result, which I agree. I think that's very true. It's unfortunate, but it is a very true thing. The game did not feel like it was designed around flying outside of traversal. Like traveling from point A to point B definitely felt like the game had flying in mind. But when you were in a mission, the missions were very like traditional third person chest high cover type shit, and it was like weird because you can jump through the air really high and fly like it, so the game had that as kind of a main issue with the flying as well, which is interesting. So all that told, obviously it's a lot of stuff we kind of knew. We're kind of getting more context on, but I mean, Montreal, what any other takeaways from some of the stuff I talked about here?
Just kind of stunned, really. I mean, I understand the flying and building around those mission structures, but like for the team to not really try to come up with new concepts of
Missions, like
stuff.
actually make a new mission, like different content, like actually different
Yeah,
content.
I feel like they could have took from other games. I mean, like look at mech
But you
games.
remember
Like,
that was he didn't Mark didn't talk about this much, but you remember that from Jason's article, is that was one of the big things during development, is they would not compare themselves to Destiny, even though they were making a game that was basically Destiny. You
well,
remember that?
not. Yeah, I do remember that, and and I understand that. My thing is, they could have took from other games though. They could have took from like this is the part where they need like. See, I'm not a game developer, but I don't know. Maybe it doesn't make sense in my head, right? Actually, I'm gonna ask you, and maybe I'm just maybe it's not as common as I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at this game, what else do you think of when you saw this game?
Like what other type of game?
Yeah, that you can kind of compare it to.
Oh, do you have a specific game in mind, or like a type of
No,
game?
I want you to purely just do it off your own.
Oh, okay.
I don't I don't
Just
want I
think
don't want
about it.
to. Yeah, I don't want to influence your
Fuck,
decision.
man. I mean, I haven't played this game, but I was thinking of like what's that PS3 shooter from Platinum?
Oh,
The one that
Vanquish.
everybody yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
some maybe something along those lines with mobility and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that.
I didn't
Yeah.
think about that. See, that's actually really cool. So I didn't think about that. Uh, I think for like the more mobile mechs or whatever, yeah, or maybe you limit the because you couldn't stay in the air all the time. Only with the like
No. You had a
the
booster limit.
okay. So yeah, maybe you do something like that where it's more fast paced or whatever. The other thing I was thinking as well, there's another game that has almost the exact same mechanics as these games, and those are mech games. And they could have they could have structured these games
Mm.
around Armored Core. They could look to Armored Core or other mech games to
Or
kind of see how those,
Warframe,
or
actually.
Warframe, to see how those games are kind of structured. Because Armored Core has a lot of missions where they look like they can be designed by maybe 2 or 3 people can
Mm.
tackle these missions or whatever
Mhm.
the case may be. They got cannons shooting up at you because they know you can fly in the air, and they got cover on the ground because you can't stay in the air for that long. So in
Right.
my mind, that would have been my immediately, if I was a developer, all right, I don't want this game to be like Destiny, obviously, but what can I do? All right, let's think of like Armor Core. Let's think of Gundam. Let's think of Vanquish. Let's think of these games that are already out, and let's try to like maybe design some of our games around these games or whatever, right? And I understand you don't want to think the same way as these games, but everything has inspiration from everything, and that's just a fact. Like we can't deny that. And you're not necessarily copying it. So in my mind, that would have been like the first thing I went to, is like, all right, have you guys heard of this, like, very niche game? Because it was niche at the time. I will admit that. Armor Core is more common now, but it was very niche. Like the mech genre was very niche at the time.
Mhm.
Uh, have y'all heard of Armor Core? And they're probably like, no. All right, well, I'm going to show you some gameplay of Armor Core. I think 5 at the time was out at the time. I'm going to show you 5 and show you how the missions are designed and everything of that nature. And
Mhm.
because we are basically flying mechs,
Yeah.
but it's a mech suit or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that part was truly astonishing to me. I I don't know, like that was the one part that I was just like, I'm not even a game developer, and I just thought of that as the conversation was going, and you guys didn't think
Yeah.
of anything to make that work,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, and yeah, while we were talking, yeah, Warframe makes a lot of sense to me as well. I mean, Warframe's been out for I think over 10 years at this point.
Yeah,
And I mean that game is literally kind of Anthem, but more it's more on the ground than Anthem. You can't like I don't think you can fly in Warframe or anything like that, but you're highly
yeah,
mobile in like a mech suit,
yeah,
type of thing where you have melee ones, you have caster ones, you have ones that are more like martial, gun focused and stuff like that as well. So like that would have been another game to look at probably for them. It's weird. Because yeah, it's just or like you were talking about too, like having cover in the air, like would have made a lot of sense, I feel like, in the game. Or have this was another thing I was thinking about too when I was listening to Mark's video is I don't know why they why they didn't they have like more giant enemies where you fight like a
exactly.
huge like a ship, like a giant fucking ship or a giant
Like
monster or
fucking Armor
something.
Core, dude. Like
Yeah,
Armor
and
Core,
you have to
dude.
fly around and hit different parts and like you need to be in the air to fight it effectively, like, and shit like that. Like that I don't know why
Yeah, and
there
that's Star
wasn't more of
Fox.
that. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah,
That's literally
dude, yeah.
Star Fox,
Yeah.
So
Or
like,
like yeah, or have like parts where you need to like fly in the air and land on top of it and you have to like destroy a platform or like a core or something or like a turrets and things like that. Like make it I don't it's just it's weird that they were so rigid in their design, dude. Like it feels like they were so stuck in this like third person shooter realm and they just didn't want to think too deeply outside of that box for some reason. Like I don't understand because it's like me and you both back in the day. I mean, you guys can hear it if you go listen to the old podcast. This is when the podcast first started. Like we played Anthem, we talked about it on the show, and like we lamented the fact that this game failed because like there's a cool game here. There could have been a really cool game here, and it's really frustrating to keep rehashing this, every couple
yeah,
of years, but I don't know.
no, yeah, you're right. And I really want like DJ, if you can like harp in on this because you're a developer. Like, is that something that happens? You get like I said, I haven't developed video games in forever or whatever. So it's like I've been away from that space. But it's like, is that something that I can understand people getting writer's block? Um, but is that something where you get so rigid in your design that you're just like, no, I refuse to do that? Or maybe you didn't even think about that because you did, yeah, because you're super rigid in your design philosophy or whatever the case may be. Um, because
Or
I don't think anything.
you don't want to take ideas from another game so directly, maybe, or
Yeah, and I
you know,
understand Destiny, right? But
yeah,
Destiny doesn't have the mechanics that we just mentioned.
I mean,
Like,
Destiny's like Destiny. The comparison to Destiny is funny because the comparison to Destiny is in the structure of the missions and the loot system. It's not the direct gameplay, right? Like
yeah. I
the
mean, and you can
don't.
structure missions just like a Star Fox, the all range mode of Star Fox 64. You
Yeah,
can
sure,
structure missions like that, right?
right,
Or I
right.
mean, if you want to have it corridory. I mean, you can have 4 people running down a corridor, and then we're just popping shit as we go down the corridor. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, it won't be like rail on rails, but you can kind of make it like a pseudo, like you're on rails or type thing or whatever the case may be, right? I mean, some people may not like those missions, but like it is a mission structure. Or you can have it like Armored Core, where it is like a mission based structure thing where, I mean, you played the new Armored Core game. That's essentially
Yeah,
what Armored Cores were. They actually made their design philosophy a lot better because of like, now I admit it, because of like Dark Souls, their level design in Armored Core was vastly superior than any level design in the old Armored Cores, and that's undeniable.
yeah,
People
yeah.
can kill me, I would die on that hill, and they only did that because of like the way the stuff that they learned from their Souls experience as well. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like they could have designed game missions in that structure to where it doesn't feel like a Destiny game, or like you said, like because Armored Core had those type of missions where you're flying like a fucking battle cruiser in the air.
Yeah,
Like there's one mission where you literally have to fly up to it and you jump on top of it, perch on it, and you just shoot it, and you keep shooting it, and it goes fucking down, and it's like the
yeah.
best thing ever. Like, and they could have done that with like the mechs that you're fighting. You're fighting like a giant fucking monster or whatever. You gotta jump on certain parts of the monster while it's flying in the air. You shoot it down, and then it comes
Or
down, and then
dude,
it has a ground fight version of it. Like,
like or like there's like a giant, like I'm just thinking of like things you could do. You have like a giant worm, right? And like somebody has to go inside the worm and like place a
yeah,
bomb or some fucking crazy shit like that. And you have to actually navigate through the worm's insides while it's moving and fighting and shit, and it's like fucking like while your party outside is still fighting it, it's like you
yeah,
can
and it
do
doesn't have to be like
I don't
it
know.
doesn't. It can be just like a different instance, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
so like if
Yeah.
you want to save like hardware space and all that other bullshit like that, it can be a different instance. You're doing your thing, and then your party's out there doing your thing, and then you get spit out, like you said, or whatever. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like it just seems like. It seems like when the project came out, they were just done with it. That's what it sounds like. They just had no more motivation to make
Yeah,
the
he
game
hasn't
great.
talked about that yet, but that's exactly what it sounded like based on the few comments he made at the end of the video.
Hmm.
He has another part he's going to do is post launch, I think,
Okay.
to discuss. So, but yeah, man, I don't know. It's frustrating, like, cause yeah, there could have been a really cool fucking game here, man. It's so upsetting. It's like I don't know. It's just I don't. How do you spend 7 years on this, man? It's so insane to think about, like how time evaporates on these teams sometimes, and like it just all of a sudden you've been working on this game for 6 years, and EA management's like, bro, you need to get this game out. Like we're done, like, and that's not EA's fault, by the way. Like I want to make that clear again. I said this back in the day, and I'll say this now: is like BioWare working on this game for 7 years is like EA eventually stepped in and said, get this shit out and we're done. Like that's not EA's not being a dick by doing that. It's like, how did you not make a game in 7 years? It's like, I guess because you kept making the same level over and over again, like, cause think about it, Montrell. If like, I don't like logically, I get the idea of making the same level because it keeps you in this frame, like headspace to see how different things work. But like, wouldn't you want to make different levels so that even if you need to rush and get the game together, at least you've made 15 levels or something that you can stitch together into something? It's like, I don't understand like why you would make one level over and over again for years at a time, and never try any other different ideas. It's like it just seems like a recipe for disaster.
I agree. I just some people just don't. I mean, not some people. I really think the team was just like demotivated because if
Yeah,
we thought of this stuff, but we were like super excited for the game, obviously. But if we
right.
thought of this stuff, there's no doubt they could have thought of this stuff instantaneously as well. So
I know. Like, I mean, we're doing this on the fly, by the way. Like, literally, like, we didn't talk about this pre-show. Montrell and I have not talked about this game off the show in years. So it's like we're coming up with these ideas on the fly. It's like, I don't know. It's like, it's not that amazing that we did that. It's like they're there. You could have come up with it. It's like maybe they did. So I'm sure somebody talked about it somewhere in there. It's just it got lost in this like bureaucratic mess, and
that's what I'm thinking, dude. I think it got lost in the sauce, man.
I think BioWare leadership was bad, and they really like I mean that's the clear thing I think that Mark continues to hit in his videos is that leadership was really poor during this period of time in the studio. And which is unfortunate because the leaders that were there were the original leaders that made the studio so successful, but for whatever reason it just seemed like these guys lost their way, to some degree, and it resulted in Anthem. So all right, anything else you want to say on that, Montrell?
Nope, that's it.
All right, let's move on. So our final story is Nintendo. They're out of control. Somebody needs to do something about them. I feel like, I don't know. Okay. They have gotten a whole bunch of new patents in recent weeks, but one in particular is kind of making the news cycle. Is they have a U.S. patent on summoning characters and making them battle for you, which obviously is a Pokemon reference, but there are, I mean, hundreds of video games over the course of time that have the concept of summoning a character and having them fight for you. I mean, RPGs have been doing this forever. I mean, every Final Fantasy game has summons, so it is very strange that this was granted as a patent. There was actually a lawyer who is pretty active in the game space who was saying that this is completely absurd that the U.S. Patent Office granted this patent.
Okay, I thought I was crazy, man.
And he also said that like they granted it without any, like they reviewed it once, which he said is almost unheard of for a patent submitted, like that it never gets rejected. He said that almost never happens for anything, So, and he thinks the process here was very dubious as well. So yeah, Montrell, what do you think of this one?
This fucking sucks, dude. I read it just to make sure that my comments weren't crazy. I'm also, so like I usually like kind of overreact sometimes to certain stories, and I put it in the group chat, and then DJ would come behind me and be like, "No, bro, this is actually what it means." The simple fact that I know he read it as well and was like, "This is some bullshit." I was like, okay, yeah. Like, and then you do the same thing. You proofread everything I put in into the thing as well. So yeah, my thing is this, dude. That those four, it was four things that I placed in, or maybe that I saw or whatever. I'm sorry. I lost my fucking page. God damn it. Oh, here it is. All right. So like the summoning of monsters, the players control the character in the virtual space. The player can perform an input command to make a sub character appear. Summon another character. If there's an enemy where the sub character appears, the player can control a battle between the sub character and the enemy. If there's no enemies where the sub character appears, the sub character automatically move around. The enemy or the player can move the sub character to a different location on the field if the enemy is there, and they can control the battle between the sub character and the enemy. So all that to say, I wasn't even thinking of Pokemon when I read this shit, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I thought of? WoW. I was like, hunters are fucking cooked now, bro. You instantly can't do anything. Was it the necromancers? Not the necromancers.
Hunters or warlocks. Yeah,
warlocks. I'm like, dude, you like any new game that comes out that has a hunter type character or a warlock type character, they gotta check in with Nintendo now. Like Digimon cooked. Like all these other games.
Yeah.
Like all these other games now. Like I understand they did this to get back at the Power World incident, but it's like, dude, suck a dick. Like, I don't know, make better games than Power World. Like, I'm not playing Power World. Like, like your core audience did not abandon you because of Power World or whatever. And then people are like, well, actually, this is because of Pikmin. They wanted to patent Pikmin. And it's like, no, bro, this is with Pokemon in mind. Like,
Yeah.
let's stop dick riding fucking Nintendo, dude. Like, I understand y'all like fucking Pokemon, y'all like Mario and all this other shit like that. I love Star Fox and I love fucking Zelda, but I'm not gonna dick ride Nintendo any longer. This put them, to me, in my opinion, on EA's territory or even higher. They're on my shit list now. Like, this is insane to me, dude. Like that, and no one's talking about it, bro. Like, everybody talked about it for like 5 minutes, and then that was it. And I'm just like, dude, like, where is the outrage? This is crazy to me, dude. Like, this blocks. And then if you wanted to make an argument, bro, RTSs are cooked. Like, RTSs are cooked. You can't make an RTS anymore.
I mean, it's so vague that it applies to so many genres of games, dude. Like, the vagueness of the patent as such is like, it's just it applies to a lot of different games. And I think Digimon, you bring that up, man, it would be kind of insane. I mean, I don't know. I can imagine Nintendo doing this, though. It's like, it would be insane for Nintendo to go after the Digimon games based off this. I don't think they're going to go after games that are like unrelated to the spaces they want to compete in, you know, specifically Pokemon, but Digimon certainly lives in that realm, I think, to some degree. And it would be fucking total bullshit that why, dude, the patent office here, like, really, I think whoever did this, like, whatever officer there, like, literally knows nothing about video games, because I don't know how the fuck you could possibly grant this after fucking half a century of video games coming out that have this mechanic in them. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't, like, patents are supposed to be for inventions, Montrell. The idea that Nintendo thinks that they invented summoning characters in a video game is fucking hilarious. Like, who do they think they are, bro? Like, I think the other thing that pisses me off about Nintendo with this stuff, and they're completely out of control, and like, I feel like something needs to be done here, because the way they use patents is not the way they're supposed to be used. Like, patents are not intended for big corporations to come in and say, I own these 500 things, these 500 ideas, and then use that as a bludgeon to deterrent for anybody in their space competing against them. Basically, that's not what they're supposed to be for. They're supposed to be for, like, people inventing things and protecting that invention, you know? Like, that's the point of a patent. It's not like the way Nintendo uses this stuff is so antithetical to the spirit of what it is. It's super fucked up, bro. And I'm sorry, like, I'm kind of with you, man. Like, they've always had huge amounts of litigation, right? But when they're going after fan games or whatever, that is well within their rights. People are not legally entitled to be able to do that stuff with their games, right? Like, it's fine. Going after the ROM sites, yes, culturally we're all mad at them, but I mean, Nintendo is technically still in the right in those situations. This, no, they're not in the right at all. These mechanics have been around forever. You don't get to suddenly say, I'm Nintendo and I own them, and if the next Final Fantasy game comes out and has a miniature monster collecting mini game in it, I'm gonna go fucking sue them because I have a patent against that. Like, no, bro. Like, that's not how this should work. You didn't invent this idea. It's ridiculous that the patent office fucking gave this to them. Like, I don't understand. It's so vague the way it's written. It can apply to so many games. It's crazy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, even I think what I think is going to happen is, I think major corporations like Bandai and everything else, they're going to challenge this patent, and then the patent officer is going to have to rewrite or reissue, or even cancel this, because this is insane. Like, like, the idea of it says characters. It doesn't even say animals. It says characters.
Yeah, so, like, exactly. Yes, right.
So, like, any character that you summon is their idea now, you know? Like,
right, is like Shiva in Final Fantasy getting summoned, oh, Nintendo can block that from fucking Square Enix now. Like, what are we
Exactly.
doing?
Exactly, dude. Like, it's crazy to me, dude. Like
Yeah.
even characters in like League of Legends, bro. Like you summon little spiders from like fucking Shyvana or
Yeah.
not Shyvana, but Evelyn and
Right.
shit like that, or
Yep.
whatever the case. Like all these other like uh games where they have minions that you control and shit like that. Like Yorick. I mean, I'll be glad they fucking claim Yorick. Take that fucking character.
Get him, Nintendo. Get him. Delete that motherfucker out of the game. What's her name? Neferi? Fuck that character.
Yeah, fuck that character too, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like all these other games, dude. I don't know, like they have a chance they can go now. One can say like, oh well, WoW was there before, so I don't know how the legality works. Like they can't go after WoW.
They can't go. I don't like. They can't go backwards. I don't.
Yeah, they can't go backwards, obviously.
Right.
But like, yeah, what if a fighting like there are plenty of games in fighting games or characters in fighting games that summon characters to like fight, or that's a part of their move set. They come out and they do their move or whatever the case may be. So like, I don't know. This is like, and then like I said, RTSs like. You have characters sometimes that spawn that summon other characters that can control those characters. So it's like,
right,
like it's I don't know, man. It's not a good look. It's definitely not a good look. I don't like this at all. I think this is a terrible patent. I think this is a terrible idea, and I hope to God someone challenges this.
Dude, if I was a company in the industry that was a competitor of Nintendo's, even if I'm not a competitor of Nintendo's, if I'm Capcom, if I'm Square Enix, if I'm PlayStation, yeah, I am going to the U.S. Patent Office and challenging the shit out of this. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why are we allowing this? Like, Nintendo doesn't own every idea under the sun that has anything to do with a video game that vaguely relates to Pokemon. Like, it's just like, it's completely ridiculous. Like, the whole fact that I think they patent the idea of like having a monster in a ball or whatever and summoning them out of it. Like, it's like,
yeah.
Dude, like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing? You know? I don't know. They're super frustrating. It is what it is. There definitely should be more talk about this. I do feel like it's pretty light. Like, people are not super invested in this, but I just think it's absurd. I don't know. I'm with you. So, all right, Montrell. That's all we got for news, but we do have some meta scores to clean up here this week. So we'll move on to guess the meta score this week, and we got two games that we guessed that we need to go through. First one is Hollow Knight Silk Song, which finally has enough of a review aggregate that we can take a look here. And you guessed a 9, I guessed a 9.1, and it is currently sitting at a 93 on
Oh my God, are
Metacritic.
you serious?
Yes. And that is based on the PC score, which has the most reviews right now at 17 total critic reviews. So yeah, this is probably still gonna move, so I might leave this one here and we can revisit it next week. There aren't actually a ton of critic scores quite yet. It's still only in the teens, it looks like, total overall. So yeah, I'll leave that one there for now. But Borderlands is also out, Borderlands 4, and you guessed on Borderlands a 7.5. I guess an 8.6. It is sitting at an 84 right now on PC. And this one's based on 67 total reviews, so this one's much more robust in terms of its review volume. So yeah, Montreal, it looks like this game has been fairly well received overall. It seems like it's been being viewed as like a return to form for the franchise, which is good. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to play it tonight, hopefully this weekend as well. So okay, games coming out. We have Ghosts of Yote coming at the beginning of October. I feel like that's a good one to guess.
Damn, why do I think October is like 5 months away? That shit is like 2 weeks away, bro.
3 weeks away. Yep. 3 weeks. I'll go first on this one. I think this one is really hard to guess, actually,
Yeah.
because I think the game is gonna be really good, like to play, right? Mechanically and all that. I have no doubt there, but I do wonder about the decision to move away from Jin Sakai as the main character and kind of tell this story in a completely different time frame with a different character in a different environment and everything like that. So I don't know. I do feel like that could drag scores down. I'm going to be a little pessimistic on this one, and I'm going to go 8.3 is my guess.
8.3. All right. I'm actually gonna go lower. I'm gonna go just a tad bit lower. Maybe this is gonna be a small window, but I'm gonna do 80
Okay.
or 8.
Okay. So you're giving me the over. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. So you're more pessimistic on the game than I am.
I think there's a lot of stuff that's gonna happen. I think obviously we're going by the we go by the Metacritic, the
critic reviews, right? Not user reviews. Which
user reviews, because user reviews.
We can do both. You want to do both on this game? We've done that before.
This one I do want to do both. I'm gonna give it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 5.9.
Okay, so do you want to change your critic score then, or
my critic score,
or leave it at 80?
I'm gonna leave it at 80.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you on users because the female protagonist.
Yep.
They're not happy about it. We know it already. They're very upset that, a female could possibly lead a video game, but they're also angry about the fact that it isn't Jin Sakai though, as well.
Yes.
And I think those two things are adding up to a lot of vitriol around this game potentially. And I'm kind of with you. Like I'm thinking even lower, bro. I'm going low, 4.7.
What?
Yeah, bro. I think the anti-woke crowd is going to come out strong. This game is going to get bombed to hell.
Yeah. That's crazy. But you know what? You're right. I think it is. But I don't know. In my mind, I'm just looking at 5.9, even 6.9. But yeah, I think this game's going to get shitted on real hard. It's still going to sell well and do well critically though. But yeah. So one thing I did want to correct, I did look this up, or that we actually just the story we were just talking about, with Nintendo. So it looks like on page 19 of the patent, it says you have to use a ball. All those 5 things that we mentioned, like it has to be a video game in which the player directly controls a character, and summons the second character, and then blah 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 blah, all that stuff. It has to be in relation to how the character is summoned. So if you summon a character in the ball, then all these apply.
Okay. So okay, that's better, but I still think it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It's 100% ridiculous. But they said in direction to doing that. So someone said, so I can use a cube, and someone says, yes, that's perfectly fine by the wording of the patent. And then someone said, not necessarily. You need to you must kind of reinvent the steps or whatever. It can't be super obvious that what you're doing. So like, what's the other game? Tam Tam that uses cards.
Yeah.
To summon. Yeah.
Okay.
But like, then people were like, what about Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, I don't know. So, I mean, that's going back in the past though. So you can't go after Yu-Gi-Oh. But I believe the whole thing is like a spear or a circle. So a Pokeball essentially, right? To do that. Or let's say you have like, oh, these are my monsters in a fucking crystal ball because we're all like fucking witches or some shit like that, or tarot card witches, and these are tarot card monsters. And I throw the ball. That would be considered, I believe, Pokemon. and they'll be like,
Wow.
we're suing you for that. That's crazy. You can't do that.
I'm sorry. These kind of things are like really dumb to me. Like, there's a point where common sense needs to prevail, right? Like,
Oh, and it says the motion of throwing the ball forward as well.
God. Wow.
So they added that too.
So if I like turn around and throw it backwards, I'm good. Fucking retarded, dude. Like, what are we doing? It's so stupid, man. I don't know. Oh, like, what if my character's like turned to the side? Does that count? Like, am I throwing it forward if I'm like turned sideways and I'm throwing it? It's like,
Yeah, I I don't know.
I don't like Nintendo.
But they did say a lot of people are in agreement with yeah, some people are still saying this though, like that's still super generic and shouldn't be patentable, and I agree with that. But I think this is all in conjunction with throwing a spear forward and summoning that said monster from said spear going forward. Doesn't make my opinion of Nintendo much better, or it doesn't change my opinion of what I said. But I did want to clarify that going
Why
forward.
can you patent that as an idea? I'm sorry. I am sorry. This is not something that's valuable to society, okay? They are talking about this in a virtual space only, okay? Like, they're not patenting the idea of doing this in real life, obviously. So
Yeah,
it's
obviously.
like, what value is there to issuing a patent for this? Like, dude, if I worked at the patent office, like I would be like, go fuck off. Like, no. Like, you don't own this concept in any digital media ever. Like, it's completely absurd that I don't know. It's just like, it's completely ridiculous, man. Like, I don't know. I do feel like some of the stuff with the patent stuff, it sounds really like sketchy, where it's like you just have to convince the specific agent reviewing your case to grant it, and it boom, you have it. It's like, that's what it sounds like, and that's just so. It just it's just not how it should work. It's like, I don't know. I don't know, man.
So I did read this, right? This is in the Nintendo the Nintendo subreddit. So obviously everybody's like kind of defending Nintendo or whatever.
No,
So
they're
that's why,
not. You
because
can't be serious.
that's why I saw this, because
God.
people are going through they're saying this isn't within. So I mean, they're right though. They are right that this is within the frame of throwing the ball forward and then summoning the monster out of said spherical object. So people are like, well, you can still WoW is still a because people were saying the same thing in the comments, like, WoW is the first thing I thought of with pets or whatever. No, they're like, and then people are like, actually, this is only in reference to doing this or whatever the case may be. So people are still defending it or whatever.
Yeah.
And some people are even getting downvoted because they're like going against it. They're like, this is still fucking stupid. Like, you should not, like you said, you should not be able to patent this idea or whatever. Because somebody said off the dome of my head, it sounds like this also nukes any Persona or SMT games. And then someone said, LOL at the OP comedy in every thread except the one where someone actually reads the patent and shows that it's not the rage bait the OP wants it to be.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
so yeah.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
so anyway, like they're fighting in the comments or whatever. But this is on the Nintendo subreddit 2 days ago. So I think it's interesting to read. If you just type in the article like Nintendo and Pokemon Company, and then type in at the end of that, Nintendo now has the US patent on summoning characters, and then type in Reddit after that, you'll get the Reddit articles on it. There's also one in legal advice off topic, and the first comment says, no, that's not how patents work. If the patent is uphill, is definitely a lawful monopoly. But that's a huge if. I haven't read the application, but what you describe isn't novel at all. So a lot of people in this Reddit looks like they haven't read all of it.
Yeah.
But okay, somebody did say that it's in a very specific method or whatever. And some people are like, okay. this may be okay. Like it's a legal gray hole or gray zone rather. Um, yeah.
I just
Some,
don't feel like patents work in the concept of video games really
they
to
don't.
me.
I don't think so either.
Because
Yeah.
I think they're intended for more like literal things like you invent, like it's an item that you've come up with or some mechanism for doing something. I guess that applies in the video game terms, but it's like since it's virtual, like I feel like copyright protects Nintendo more in the spirit of what they want than what patenting does, and trademarking as well. You know, is much more applicable. Like I don't know, dude. They just want to have ammo to go after whoever they want. Their legal team is like, I hope they're paid like 4x whatever most legal analysts are paid or lawyers are paid at companies, because like this is fucking crazy shit that they're doing. Like I don't know, man. It's out of control. Like, bro, leave Pal World alone, okay? Like, I get it. Your butt hurt. Like, you're like Blizzard when fucking Valve released Dota 2, you know? Like, I get it. Your butt hurt. They came out with a game that, you know, is kind of riffing on your game. I mean, in Blizzard's case, it was literally ripped out of their own game, but they didn't make it. So, you know, it's just like, you know, accept the fact that somebody made something that people like that you didn't think of, you know? It's like it's such a butthurt, like it's such I don't know. It is. It's just like butthurt teenager energy. Like that's what it feels like, you know? But I don't know. I don't know what else. I have no other thoughts there. So Montrell, you have anything else to say on it?
No, that's it. Bro.
We can close out the show. All right. Well, we're gonna head out here, guys. That's all we got today. If you like this episode, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please subscribe to us on YouTube. If you'd like to send us questions to be answered on the show, you can do so at theplayerstake01@gmail.com via email, and we will answer those on the show. I do apologize once again for my sickness. I know some coughs got through there during the show, so I do appreciate you guys bearing with me on that. But I should hopefully be better next week. All right, well that'll be it for us, guys. We hope you like this episode, and if you did, we'll see you next week. Bye.